thank you all for checking out this week's episode. Once again, I'm John. If you like what you heard and saw today, subscribe to our YouTube channel, find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and check out our brand new merch store with hats, coffee mugs, t-shirts, other cool stuff coming down the pipeline. Again, thank you all for support. Be safe, and see you next week.
How's it going, everyone? John here, the host of Spirit Talk. And today we get to welcome the incredible Richard Divizio to the show. Richard is the original Mortal Kombat actor, famously playing Kano, Baraka, Kabal, Quan Chi. He also has a degree in computer graphic design, and he studies numerous martial arts to include Star Praying Mantis, Wushu, and Chinese Kung Fu. Richard, awesome to have you on here.
Oh, thanks, John. Thanks for having me.
It's when I started this podcast, kind of the reason why I did is I want to talk to people in different industries, whether it's martial arts and acting or authors or law enforcement, military, that impact on my life. And I realized the one game that I, for whatever reason, just gravitated towards has always been Mortal Kombat. And I've actually had numerous actors from different the film franchises. I've had some other actors from the video games be on the show, but you've always been that one person I've kind of gravitated towards because just your involvement from the onset of the actual game itself and the lead towards the possible the creation of it, but your involvement in my favorite characters like Baraka and Kabal. And I just want to say again, thank you for jumping on here.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's awesome. Great to be here.
You recently celebrated, I believe, the 30th anniversary of Mortal Kombat with a bunch of you guys and girls. And for you to be at this point in your life where it's like 30 years later, not only is the original game so iconic and still classic, but the franchises, whether the comic book and movies, it's still growing. And I think the audience is still growing too, as parents have played this game and now passing on to their kids. It's like, how cool is it for you to be part of this such an iconic legacy?
It's awesome to be a part of something that that I never thought it was going to become this. I have always in my life wanted to be a part of something this big, and now I am. And I could take you back to my childhood and in the 70s, and I was 9 years old in 1977 when Star Wars came out. So right then and there, that was like a big thing for me. And from that point forward, I always wanted to have something to do with major motion pictures, whether it be special effects design, because I was an artist growing up. So anything films, movies, and I didn't know what a franchise was, and I don't even think they knew at that time, because that might not even have been a word, because and even like in films, sequels, they didn't. When was like the first sequel? Like Jaws was the first.
Or maybe Godfather Part 2, I remember.
Yeah,
it was actually billed as a sequel.
When was Godfather 2?
God, that would have been late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, because Jaws was like 1976, and then Jaws 2, and then so franchise-wise, just being a kid, I always wanted to be involved in something, and then I am writing a book, so and I talk a little bit about this in my life from when I was a kid, and how I kind of knew that I was going to someday be a part of something big. I didn't know what it was going to be, but it's so weird how the things that I've done in my life through childhood and teenhood and growing led me to 1992 in Mortal Kombat. Like a few years before that, well, hell, let's just go all the way back to when I was 13, because that's when I met Daniel Pacina, who plays Johnny Cage. He plays Johnny Cage and all the ninjas, and he was my kung fu teacher. And I'm 13. He's 10 years older than me. His brother Carlos Pacina plays Raiden, and they did martial arts, and even before I knew them, we're talking like what, 6th, 7th grade,
right?
There had been a kid who came to school with some nunchucks, and I had been a baseball player growing up. I was pretty good. I probably should have stuck with baseball because I was pretty damn good. Hit righty, lefty. I had the Ken Griffey Jr. swing. Oh man, that was awesome. But yeah, when he started doing all this kind of stuff with the nunchucks, I was like, and I was getting bored of baseball about that time. And I said, where'd you learn all that stuff? And he's like, from my friend Danny. And I'm thinking, well, introduce me to him. So that's how I met Dan Pacina. I'm like 13 years old. I'm 54 now. So Daniel and I became friends. His brother Carlos Pacina, we became friends because Carlos was 14, I was 13, and then Daniel was taking kung fu on the north side of Chicago with a few other fellas, Ho Sung Pak,
Yeah,
who
wow.
ends
Yeah.
up becoming Liu Kang,
Yeah.
Anthony Marquez, who plays Kung Lao. So we're all like really young, and we build this friendship from like 13 years old on. And as the teenhood grows and we're traveling the United States doing martial arts, like the tournaments, we used to travel, do, the NASCA circuit.
Yep.
And we did all that. Oh my God, we just, so many big names today that are out there doing martial arts. We saw them when they were little. And, but we did that. And that kind of led to Ho Sung Pak being sought out by Pat Johnson, the stunt choreographer,
Yeah.
who did
Ninja
Karate
Turtles and
Kid
all that.
and
All
Ninja
that.
Turtles and all
Yeah.
that. But at that point, we're talking like 1990, and Ho Sung Pak was like the grand champion in the U.S. for doing the kung fu stuff, and we actually practiced Chinese Wushu. We weren't doing the traditional Star Praying Mantis kung fu anymore, but we were doing Wushu, which is pretty much what people are doing now in movies and films.
Right.
The John Wick films and the Jet Li stuff, and we were doing that in the early 80s, and now it's like big time. You can't have a movie without a butterfly twist,
Right.
in it. So we were doing that way back then. But like Ho Sung was just awesome. And when they were going to do Turtles 2, he was sought out by Pat Johnson. And I was there for the phone call. It was Daniel Pacina, and Ho Sung and I, we had been working out together, and Ho Sung got a phone call in his house. It's like I'm thinking to myself, there's no cell phones at this time.
Right.
This is like a phone on the wall in Ho Sung's parents' house in Lincolnwood, Illinois, where he grew up. And I'm starving because we already worked out like 4 or 5 hours, jumping around doing kicks. Phone rings. I'm like, let's go. I'm starving. Ho's like, and it was Pat Johnson on the phone. And next thing you know, he gets off the phone. He says, "You'll never know who that was. That was the stunt choreographer for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles films. And they're going to do The Secret of the Ooze, the second film. And he wanted Ho Sung to get on an airplane, head to England to Jim Henson's Creature Shop in London to get fitted for the Raphael costume." So, I'm standing there.
Oh, that's great.
Like 21 years old. And like I told you earlier, I knew that something in my life was going to lead to this. So from 13 to like 21, I'm practicing martial arts. 21, I'm there witnessing this phone call. Of course, we told Ho Sung, "You're going to get us in this movie, right? We don't care what we're going to be in this film somehow, And yeah, he called a few weeks later and told Daniel and I to get our butts down to Wilmington, North Carolina, and to become foot soldiers in the film. So all of this is going on before Mortal Kombat, because this is 1990.
Yeah.
And so 1991, I believe, is Secret of the Ooze. And when we got back from filming that, I get a call from John Tobias, who is the lead artist on Mortal Kombat. But at the time, yeah, he's working for Midway Games. And my dad's like, "Hey, it's some guy named John." And I've known John since, we grew up as teenagers. And
he went to your college too, right?
Yes, the American Academy of Art. And so John says, he's like, "Hey, you guys are back from Turtles, huh?" I said, "Yeah." he's like, I'm working at Midway Games. I said, yeah, I heard. So he's like, I have an idea. I was wondering if you can get Danny and all the guys, Carlos, Hosung, if you guys could come in, I want to try something. So I'm like, sure, I'll just pick up the phone and call him, we'll be there tomorrow, So yeah, so I just called the guys and we went to Midway Games and the short story is history was made. The long story is we tried a few things out against there was no blue screen, it was like a gray wall, like in a closet or something. We had to make some room just to do something. There was no, green screen, nothing like that. But after we had done a few filming ideas, because not many people were using digitization at the time. So I guess apparently they were going to do a Van Damme game and that didn't work out. And John, was like, my friends are martial artists, so why don't I just call them?
Right.
So we went in there, tried some things in front of a high 8 video camera. And, I kind of was watching the monitor to see what was really going on here. And I guess the programmer, Ed Boon, he had some sort of software where they can grab the 30 frames from the high 8 video and port it out somehow to this console. And they could strip the frames on the fly down to 8 frames. So I would do a move like a cycled move like that. And it's 30 frames a second. They just strip it out and they would loop 8 frames. So it's, me going like this. And from where I was standing, John says, come here, I want to show you something. So I'm standing there looking at the monitor and I just see myself looped doing this. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. He says, can you go over there and do that same thing, but I want you to throw a punch from that same position. So I'm going like this, and then I just threw a punch. I come back, Ed Boon does some magic or whatever.
Yep.
Now it's all connected to some sort of buttons, and you could press a button on a little keypad, and one that was allocated to be let's just say a punch. Now you see this file that's looped of me doing this. And when you press the button, the punch comes out and then it goes right back to that. Press the button again, it goes right back to that. And we're looking at it like, this is going to be the game. But at that time, you think to yourself okay, well, that's just a punch. So you need a punch, you need a kick, you need different versions of punches, you need throws, you need kicks, you need sweeps, you need all this. But that's okay. John Tobias had a notepad that was as long as anything, just with every move written down. And and then we had to film every single move. It's kind of like doing traditional animation.
Right.
But now we're actually like the cartoon, but we're live. So that's what the game became. And that was the beginning of Mortal Kombat. And there was no name. It wasn't like John called and said, hey, we're working on a game called Mortal Kombat. Can you come in? It was no come on in,
Right.
we'll try something. So later down the road, they had come up with a name. And, I think that after John probably had to report to the suits and the higher ups at Midway Games to, so what do you guys got?
Right.
And once they showed them the video of what they had on screen, that was the turning point where they kind of let them loose and said, you guys got something here.
Yeah.
This is lightning in a bottle. So, but we were young. I was 22 years old and, I knew nothing about anything, anything legal, lawyer stuff.
Yeah.
It was there was nothing hey, John, before I continue, we need to talk. It wasn't like that. It was more yeah, they want you to sign this piece of paper first,
Right.
and so, I signed my rights away and yeah, we pretty much got screwed.
And I want to talk about that a little bit. But what's interesting, when they started releasing like the behind the scenes footage of the filming, all the stuff you're talking about, it was really cool because now hearing you talk about how you guys were all friends and trained together, it seemed like if it made it more believable. Like, could you guys have been as successful if it was all random people brought together with your backgrounds filming this? Or it's like the built-in level of trust with each other, did it make it helpful or did it get in the way of stuff?
Oh no, it made it so helpful. And I think, and I have a name for it. I call it flavor. Us knowing each other definitely, and we've worked together for so long, and the nuances and things that we knew, and because I was there when Daniel filmed and he was there when I filmed, and I think many of us were there like when Carlos filmed and Hosung filmed. So we were able to, roll off of each other, and because we've known each other for so long, and if I was doing something wrong, there was no, feelings hurt. If Daniel said, that sucks the way you're throwing that punch, it was, he's like, come on, you could do that better, make it more believable. Okay. And then all of a sudden I'm turning up the juices, and I'm doing something like really awesome,
Right.
And just, it's like we were helping each other. And yeah, like I can't see that being done. And I do talk about it when we do like conventions and we're doing a panel or something. I can't see this being done with actors that they would have tried to hire from like some sort of agency.
Right.
And then because each of them wouldn't have known each other. Like ever. They wouldn't have met each other ever. It would be like one guy comes in for this, another guy comes in for this. So there's no feeding off of each other. So what you're seeing on screen is the best, characters that we can be because we pushed each other to let's just say ham it up.
It just looked like a fun time. Like there's this one clip where I saw
great.
like where one of you guys was running up a ladder, did like a kick off the ladder, and then you land, and then someone's like, "All right, we'll do it 10 more times." I'm just like, and then you see everyone else in costume and stuff, kind of just laughing, and it just, man, what a time to be alive.
Oh yeah, it was great. Anthony Marquez, Kung Lao, he loves hamming it up. Oh, and I love Tony. Oh my God. These guys are all brothers to me. So, whenever we do a convention or something, oh man, if you ever get a chance to meet Tony, oh my God, you got to have him even on here, have him on an interview or something. But he coined this phrase because we have spoken about this many times of what it is that you're really seeing on the screen. And he calls it personality in the pixels.
Yeah.
Which that's exactly what it is, because we just, oh man, it's awesome. I can't help but think like if we were in some film together, what we could come up with, like a movie. So if you know anybody that wants to do a Netflix series,
It'd be amazing.
Get together with us, call us at 1-800. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that something cool could come out of that, we've known each other for so long,
When it comes to the first day where it's like, hey, you're gonna portray Kano or Baraka or Kabal or Quan Chi, like how much creativity or like leeway do you have to kind of like, who fleshes out these characters and how does that affect your approach towards different move set? Because it's for you to play this many characters, all of them very distinctly different. So how much fun was that for you to kind of create 4 different kind of approaches?
John, that's because I'm an actor, John. Okay, I'm an actor. I change the roles up whenever I need to. I'm just teasing. What's so weird is like I look like a mean guy, but I love comedy. So
you have the face. I think what I've always gravitated towards you is the fact that you kind of look like Baraka.
Everyone says that.
Like I was like, is he like every promo picture? I'm like, is this Richard or is this Baraka? No, it's just awesome.
Yeah, everyone says that. Like if they meet me, they don't even say Kano. right away they're just like, you're Baraka, aren't you? I'm like, does my face look like Baraka? Like, seriously? Maybe it's the face I do,
Yeah, I think that's what. Yeah.
the Kano face. I've been doing that face probably since 6th or 7th grade. Because I was like Gene Simmons for Halloween when I was a kid, and I was, doing that face, and eventually I got to do it as Kano. But to answer your question, so I remember the first character when John's like, you're gonna play Kano. I got a sketch of him. He's losing his hair. You're losing your hair. So it works out. Do you want to be a mercenary thief? Yeah, okay, I'll be him. So yeah, that's fine. I could do him. So, and then when I became Kano, I'm just like, just being this villain, and then Baraka, I really couldn't do any
Right.
facial expressions because I'm in this mask here. So now I have to use my body language to be the character. So this might be hidden, but now I have to use the body to tell the story, and to come alive on screen. So I try to do that as much as possible. Then I played Kabal, and I was in a mask again, so I wasn't able to really you just kind of come alive with the mask on
Right.
and do whatever I can. But it wasn't really until when John Tobias wanted me to play Quan Chi in the Sub-Zero Mortal Kombat Mythologies game, that I played Quan Chi. So that I finally was able to have some white makeup on my face, and when John told me we're going to do some full motion video FMVs in between each level, like if you get to a level, you get to watch this like mini little movie. I guess they had some extra space on the computer for that, and I thought that was pretty cool because I got to read a script and become a character.
Yeah.
And it was like my first chance at really doing some acting, which is kind of what I always wanted to do. And so then I just became Quan Chi. So that was it. Do not question me, Serena. More importantly, do not fail. We have toyed with the ninja long enough. Stuff like that. I love that. I love coming alive. And I always think to myself, if I was ever going to be like on some sort of show, like I want to be the neighbor. I want to be the asshole neighbor.
Yeah.
Can I say that on here?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
But I want to be the guy, who's looking over the fence going, you're mowing your lawn at 8:30 in the morning. You're not supposed to start until 9. I'm going to have to call the village on you.
Yeah.
I'm just like one of those guys. Like I want to be that type of neighbor. I think I could play him well, hey kids, stop jumping in the trampoline next door. You're too loud. Like, I feel like I'm becoming like the guy that they always say, like, you're going to become like your father. You're going to be an old man. Don't step on my lawn. That's who I'm becoming.
That's the Chicago in you, though.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like, no, I mean, like, even now, like, in the summertime, I'm here, I'm enjoying, I'm trying to have the barbecue outside. And there's kids like 3 doors down who are just screaming. There's like 5 of them jumping around in the trampoline, and I'm trying to enjoy my suburban life, and I can't because it's okay see, there's a difference, John. There's a difference. This is the guy I want to be. I could do stand up. I could just pick this out. There's a difference of like having fun in a trampoline, like
correct.
Oh, look, we're having fun. And then there's like I'll look down the way and I can see because there's like no fence, and there's no fence in the suburbs. Like whatever there is, but it's small. I can see, and like there's like a 3-year-old in the trampoline with like the little brothers jumping around and the 3-year-olds just bouncing around, they're terrifying the kid. And I'm thinking, where are the parents? The parents are not around.
Right.
Like, what's going on? you know, I'm not going to go over there, John, and ring the doorbell because, you know, I just can't do that. I want to.
Yeah.
See, again, that's the guy. That's the guy I want to be. I want to ring ding dong. Yeah, your kids are being a little too loud.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
When it, in terms of the creative output, when you guys are sitting around, like when it comes to like the iconic line, get over here, or other stuff, or famous moves and stuff, like how involved are you guys as like the people are partaking in this, or is this something that comes down from someone like Ed or whoever up top? Hey, you're gonna say this. Like, is there like a round table with you guys kind of sitting around talking about the stuff?
Well, there's no round table. There's a gray wall inside of a closet room that we turned into our makeshift studio. And like for instance, like when we did the ripping out the heart
Yep.
for the fatalities, it's like no one was thinking of anything. And I'm standing there, and I'm a big fan of Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And you know, we're all stealing from somewhere, John. You
Yeah.
know, so I was thinking, I'm like, why doesn't he just rip the heart out? You know, so I told John, I'm like, I'll just reach over and grab that heart, and I'll just, you know, grab it, and I hold it up like that. And John's like, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's just use that. So, and that's another thing. See, I grew up with John. I'm actually the one that introduced John to Daniel and Carlos back when we were, you know, teens. It's just, you know, we're just a close knit group of friends, so we're all able to just kind of just,
Right.
you know, roll off of each other. And John, what was cool is John wasn't like, you know, like, oh, I'm the artist and I'm the one that's going to dictate, and you guys got to do what I, you know, say. And it was nothing like that. That's what's great. It's like, it wasn't a director, you know, telling me what to do. I mean, I don't mind that. I don't
Right.
mind a director telling me what to do. It's so funny because when I watch interviews with actors, I'll always hear things like, an actor will say, "Oh, I loved working with this director because he kind of just lets you go. He lets you be."
Yeah.
He'll come over and he'll say, "I need you to stay kind of in this range, but you know, take it and roll with it." I guess that's kind of like what it was. It was something like that. Like John's like, "Yeah, you know, what do you got? Okay, how about we rip the heart out? Boom, done." Same thing like with, and you may have heard this story before. I was there when Daniel was doing Scorpion, and you know, I always wanted weapons to be in the game. So I had said to John, I'm like, "There going to be weapons in this game?" And I think they were going to do, I think Ed Boon wanted something with a lasso where you know, take the lasso and you throw it around the guy and you
Pull
pull
him
him
up.
back. Yeah, whatever. And Danny's like, "I'm not doing that. That's too much like Wonder Woman." So, and I was there that day because we hung out together as friends. So I was there at the shoot, at the video shoot. And I said, "Dan, I'm like, what weapon you got in your bag?" Because we had like the gym bag, and he had the dagger in there, which
Oh
is
yeah.
the Chinese weapon, the rope dart. And I said, because they were going back and forth about what to do, and that's not on video, by the way, on YouTube. It's not. It's been cut out. I do not know why it's been cut out.
Interesting.
Maybe, yeah, it is interesting. I don't know why it's cut out. Maybe they don't want me to have the credit, but or either that or the camera was not rolling. I know the camera was rolling. I
Yeah.
saw the video when Ed says he's like, he goes, "I want like an arrow or something," or spear or something with like a, pulling back or whatever. And then something happened, but at the end of that video, you hear John Tobias in the background saying something like, I wish I had some sort of audio tools that I can pull up, to hear this, but you can hear something like, "Well, Rich, didn't you say earlier," or something like that? And then it cuts off. Well, I'm about to tell you what I did say. So for the record, so I had said to Daniel earlier, and I can't remember whether Ed was there or not. He could have been in and out of the room. Who knows? I had said something like, "Why don't you just take that dagger and just throw it into the guy's chest, and then it just sticks in there, and then you just take it and you pull it back and you just tell him to get over here. And then I did an uppercut. And that's it. Those 3 words, get over here. So I basically coined the phrase of those 3 words. That's all I said. I just said, why don't you just stick it in him? You just pull him back like this and you just tell him to get over here. And then you do an uppercut and that's it. So things like that, you know, it's so awesome to be able to have that freedom because, you know, the brainstorming and the things you could come up with are awesome. You know, it's like, no, you're the actor. You listen to me. You know, it's more like, hey, what do you got? You know, I'm a firm believer in, you know, us just fleshing ideas out. That's the best way to do it. So, and not only that, like, you know, I was a huge fan of Jason and the Argonauts.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and I love the animation. I actually went to school for animation.
What's his name? Ray
Harryhausen. Yeah, and you know, I love skeletons. Oh, skeletons are so cool. The way they're animated, and you know, like for instance, like Spinal from Killer Instinct.
Yep.
Just the way he's like coming at you with the shield. You know, that's, you know, shit. I should be Spinal. That'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be cool. You know, so yeah. So anyhow, I said something. Danny was doing some scorpion move, and I think it was like where, oh, I know what I said. I said something. I go, why don't you? It was a fatality, and I said, why don't you just pull the mask off, and then he's got like a skeleton face underneath.
Yeah.
And then he just breathes fire and just, you know, and John may have, and I can't remember, may have wanted him to blow fire or something. I can't remember whether I came up with that or not. But I do remember saying, you know, why don't you just take the mask off? And then there's like a skeleton face. And you know what's so weird is I was not a comic book guy. And isn't there a character like Daredevil or something that's got like a skeleton?
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider it is? Okay, yeah. See, I told you I don't know. I said Daredevil. I don't know. Ghost Rider it is? Okay. See, I never knew nothing like that. No, I never knew nothing. Yeah, I am from Chicago.
Yeah, you are.
I never knew. Yeah, the Bears. Yeah, see, and I never knew nothing.
Yeah.
Oh man, it just comes out, John. It just comes out. But yeah, I just said, you know, just pull the mask off and, you know, have a skeleton and then, you know, have him blow fire and have him, you know, burn into a crisp. So yeah, that's kind of how things, you know, happened.
It is. The first game gets finished up. Like, what's the promo like for that? Are they kind of like I was so young to not really appreciate, because now when games come out, there's live shows and all the Call of Duty stuff, people in costumes. But for the first game, did they send you guys out on television and stuff like that in character? Like, how'd they promote this game?
You know, I think they sent the most popular characters. They sent
like Johnny Cage type stuff?
Johnny Cage, Liu Kang, and Sonya. So it was Daniel, Ho Sung, and Liz Malecki.
Yep.
And they had, I think, gone to England and done some sort of show. I think it was called Games Master, something like that. Because I've seen the video on YouTube. So they promoted them. Kano was just, you know, not good enough. So, but
you're also the only actor to be in all digital digitalizations of every game, right?
Yes, I am.
It's crazy. I can't even keep up with the games now. Like, it's tough enough to watch like the DC or Marvel movies in order, or even Star Wars without knowing the numbers. But when it comes to like the Mortal Kombat games, like it's just crazy how vast that thing became. If you to be part of like different legacies and generations of people that grew up, like the parents of one kid can remember you from Kano. Now they remember you from another game as Quan Chi as a kid. It's again, that's just gotta be super awesome for you, especially when you do the conventions, kids and people come to you and say, man, your character saved my life, or your character helps me get through shitty days. And it's like, to have that impact through this over 30 years now. I mean, again, man, that's just awesome.
It is. We have people coming up to us at the tables and, you know, and they're naming their kids, you know, like, this is my daughter, her name is Katana, or Melina, or something like that, you know, never Kano, but but
Baraka.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
yeah. No, but that is pretty cool. And well, I mean, it's 30 years has gone by. So I don't know. Oh man, I look better now than I did then.
Yeah, I like that. It's
I don't know. I'm aging gracefully, you know.
I remember I've had Chris Casamassa on the show, and we were laughing when the new movie just come out, and they start talking about like the multiverse of like all these people coming in. He goes, "How cool would it be if the original actors from the games, and the original movies, like all got together and stuff?" Like it's just crazy that we live in a day, like an age where that's something that can be easily possible. And like, how fun would it be for you to dress up as the original Kano again? Like it's just like now with the new games, they do all these skins, right? Where people can unlock different outfits. Like, is that something that's been approached to you where it's like unlock the original Kano outfit or Baraka or Quan Chi type stuff?
So I'll give you a little piece of information, and your show is the first one to hear this. So I no longer can dress in the Kano outfit,
Wow.
and that's because of Warner Brothers.
Is that
So, yeah. So any conventions that we do, they have voiced, let's just say, they do not want us dressing in the character costume. I said us, but I'll just stick with me.
Yeah, of course.
Personally. But it's kind of stupid because the laws of where things are, especially now in the entertainment industry with let's say cosplay.
Yeah.
What's really ridiculous is that these big companies, I mean, I could say Warner Brothers because Warner Brothers owns Mortal Kombat. I'm not going to say any other big name companies, but I'll say the other big name companies that have characters. I've never worked for them, but you go to a huge, a New York Comic-Con or a C2E2 in Chicago or San Diego Comic-Con or something. The place is filled with cosplayers, and fans is the word right there that keep alive
correct
these franchises and all their characters and everything, and people are dressing like Superman or Marvels or whatever
Optimus
it may
Prime.
Be. Yeah, exactly. And the creativeness, the that these people are putting out in the costumes and all that. But what I'm hearing lately, especially on YouTube, is that some of these cosplayers are getting cease and desist letters handed to them at conventions.
Crazy.
By people coming out from the studios. And what they'll do is they'll interview them first, because I've seen videos of this. They'll interview them at, let's just say, a convention, and they'll say, "Hey, how long have you been doing, this character?" God. And they're like, and they're all excited too, because they think they're being interviewed, and they're all excited and that they were recognized for having like this awesome costume and everything. And then at the end of the video, and this is just really shitty. On the part of the studios, if the studios know who they are that are doing this, shame on you.
Yeah.
But they'll have someone come out, and at the end of the interview, they'll say, "Well, it was good talking to you, and I'm from so and so, and here's a letter for you. It's a cease and desist order." And they're doing this like at the convention.
You want
that bunch of bullshit.
And you want those generations to keep those fires alive. People dressed like Indiana Jones or whoever it is. It's like, I never understood. It's not like Harrison Ford's actually there dressed as Indiana Jones. Like he doesn't even care about the character. So why should it's just, it's almost like they're stifling creativity especially the last couple of years where kids, and I'll stick with kids, that mental health and suicide rates, all this stuff go so high. It's like these kids feel safe at these conventions dressed as their favorite anime characters or
Yeah, like
Street
Batman
Fighter.
or whatever.
Yeah, if I want to dress like Zangief or Baraka, like whatever I want to do, it's like I feel safe here. I'm welcome. People love me. And you have these overarching studios that and you see it in music too all the time with bars to play a certain song. Or it's just, at what point do you kind of sit back and go, what are we doing? Like, we've impacted this person to spend their own money on costume materials or on a character we created. Of course, we're going to see our movie and buy our merch. Why can't he dress up as Bumblebee? It blows my mind.
If you know, I hope someone sees this video because I would love to sit down with these guys and just,
Yep.
you know, talk to someone, but you know, you can never really talk to whoever's running the show. But someone there is not appreciative.
Yeah.
They, you know, I don't want to say they don't know what's going on, but maybe they do know what's going on and they're just greedy. And, but, you know, they just want to, you know, you know what it is like, because they've contacted me and the feeling that I've gotten from the wording
Yep.
is, you know, they feel that they don't want any sort of misrepresentation by, you know, someone that they haven't approved to, you know, be out there in the public eye, you know, playing the character or representing something that they own franchise wise. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm the real guy. I'm the one that got you here.
Right.
You know, so
I'm
be
the reason why you bought this
appreciative,
franchise.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it'd be
You
one
know?
thing if they were kind of like, hey, like, if you're gonna do this, just be smart, don't do anything stupid. Like, all stuff is an ace. It's just, oh God, so
You know,
fun.
call us, contact us, have a conversation with us.
Right.
You know what? Invite us to Burbank, California. Let's have a sit down. And if you want to go through everything and say, hey, listen, we know you're the original guy.
Yeah.
And whatever. But here's me. Like, I'm thinking, let's work together. And but they're thinking, yeah, we don't need you. We're making millions without you.
Right, but you don't make that first dollar without the first group of actors that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and it's so weird. Like, you know, I could sit here and say, like, you know, well, Midway screwed us, or I can say, like, you know, Warner Brothers screwed us. But
Right.
the thing is that, you know, did Warner Brothers screw us? Well, they actually have a chance to be the redeemers.
Yeah.
Because they acquired Midway Games. And, you know, can I say that Midway screwed us? Well, a little bit. Yeah. You know, I think it should have been handled a little bit differently. You know, I think they knew what they had and we were young.
Right.
And I think, you know, we signed our life away and they're probably laughing all the way to the bank going, these guys are not going to get nothing. And but you know, when Warner Brothers, you know, acquired Midway Games, you know, there was a chance there that that they could have said, you know what, man, these guys like helped build this franchise. And I always talk about the collaboration between everyone that was talented in making this game a success. You know, is it John Tobias? Yes. Is it Ed Boon? Yes. John Vogel, Dan Forden, all of us actors in the game. It took all of us to make this game a success. And yeah, like Warner Brothers could have, after the acquisition, said, you know, hey, listen, these guys are still, you know, out there. Like,
people
let's
care
do
about
something with
them. Right.
Well, you know, I'll tell you a funny story. So back around 2012, you know, there's an arcade here in Chicagoland area in Brookfield, Illinois, called the Galloping Ghost Arcade. And I think it's like the largest arcade in the world. It has about 1,000 or more arcade games, the original stand-up games. So if you're ever in Brookfield, Illinois,
Yeah.
look up the Galloping Ghost Arcade. on Ogden Avenue. See how I just did that plug?
I like
Look
that.
for the owner, Doc Mack, awesome dude. But he had actually called us. This is like back in 2012, and he says, "Hey, listen, I'm doing this thing called Shang Tsung's Fight Night." I'm like, "What's that?" And and I work a regular day job, so he's like, "I want you guys to come out, and I'm going to do this tournament, and guys are going to play the game, and then they'll meet you guys and everything." I'm like, "Meet us for what?"
Pizza,
And
right?
yeah, like he's like, "Don't you guys know who you are?" And I'm thinking, well, that was a long time ago. He's like, you guys have a cult following.
Yeah,
You guys are the original characters on the screen in the game that people are playing, and they know you by name. So you have to come to this Shang Tsung's Fight Night. Like, okay, cool. So we went, Daniel and I and Carlos and everybody, we went to this thing, and there was like 670 something
wow,
people
yeah,
out the door wrapped around the building to meet us. And I'm walking through, and people recognize you, and they're like, Rich Divizio,
yeah,
Kano. And I'm thinking, like, this is like 2012.
yeah.
And I think Warner Brothers probably had already acquired Midway, I think maybe in 2010. So, at that time, I actually didn't know anything about the world of cosplay, or, I remember there was comic conventions, but
Yeah.
they were nothing like they are today, these entertainment conventions. But that was kind of like the start of it all, because once we did that, people got word that we were alive. And this is the guy who rips the heart out. He's the one. And the next thing you know, we're signing autographs, and people want to take pictures with us. So we were finally getting some sort of recognition,
Yeah.
and it felt great. And the one cool thing about all of us is that none of us, in Mortal Kombat 1, 2, or 3, um, we're all humble.
Yeah.
We're not, cocky sons of bitches. We're appreciative to have been involved in this, and to meet the fans and back to the fans again. The fans are the ones that made this franchise. We collaborated on making the game, but we could have collaborated on making a game at Midway. And if the fans didn't put the quarters in the game,
Right.
it would have been nothing. It would have been nothing. So, like, Warner Brothers needs to think about that and go, well, we got this franchise now, and which was grown by Midway, or started. And these guys were on the ground floor of all of this. And I'd love to sit down with these guys and
Well, it seems like it's ripe for a proper documentary with everyone, and even tied into anyone else about the movies or the current movies or people right now. I just think it's so cool to see that everyone is just like alive and kicking. Like it's just like
we got like 10 people that want to do documentaries with us. So
it's just so
we're constantly being notified, but it's like,
yeah,
like, who are we going to do the documentary with?
right.
And when you can't do a documentary with like 3, 4, 5 different people, because you want to tell the story.
Correct.
And and the footage, and that we can go and location or do whatever. But we haven't yet really been approached by someone who like, I guess what I'm saying is the person or persons that approaches us to do a documentary that has some sort of Netflix ties.
Yeah, well, you want the outreach, right? You want to get the story
something that
out.
can reach out and
Yes.
tell the world,
Like Amazon Prime or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, or Amazon Prime, Amazon Video. I subscribe to you, Amazon, and I subscribe to you, Paramount Plus, and I
Yeah.
subscribe to you, Netflix. So I love all of your networks. In fact, Yellowstone is one of my favorite shows. So yeah, I subscribe to all of those. Just some wonderful shows on these networks that I'm a fan of. So yeah, I would love to be on one of those series. Oh my God.
Well,
That would
you kind of mentioned you kind of answered already, but when it comes to your book you're working on, how many, I assume there'll be some loopholes where it'll have to pass through Warner Brothers. Is that something that you have to kind of get cleared for some stuff you talk about?
well, there is a book that just came out with David Craddock, I think is the
Yes.
author.
Yep.
And you know, I spoke to him a little bit about, you know, what he had to go through to do this. And you know, there are probably some things that some hoops that might need to be jumped through to tell the story. But when I write my book, it's not just going to be about Mortal Kombat. It's
Right.
going to be about, you know, my life, you know, and kind of how I got there. That's just one thing that happened in my life, but there'll be more things about just my personal climb to where I got to, and how I got there, and you know, and just how I formed as a person, and what I was able to bring, you know, to history. You know, people are saying you're a legend, and I'm like, I'm a legend.
Right. I got kids over here on the trampoline I want to shoot. Right.
Yeah. What do you mean I'm a legend? They're
Right.
like, you're a fucking legend. Like, you were in Mortal Kombat. That game changed video game history. It's legendary. So does that make me a legend? I don't know. I don't know. You know, I love that when I look at it and I think, man, like I was a part of this, and it's awesome to be a part of this. And you know, I think to myself, I'm not done. Like,
Yeah.
I want to do other things, but you know, I got to have a full-time job every day just to pay the bills. So if contacted, I am available. So
Well,
no, but
you played a uncredited, or were you a credited role in the Dark Knight, correct? Like, how do roles like that come
no,
about?
no. So yeah, see, these are the things. In the 2000s, you know, of course, you know, if you want to put it in a nutshell, I'm not rich because I got screwed during
Right.
the days of working for Midway. So I couldn't really fully pursue an acting career. You know, I had to maintain a full-time job
Right.
in my life. So but there's always been those days, you know, in the 2000s, in the 90s, in the 2000s, where I'm like, you know, something's calling me to tell me to go and do this.
Right.
In 1995, I went to Los Angeles for the Mortal Kombat. No, was it 95? Was it 95? I did I'm not sure if it was 95. It could have been. I think it was 95 for Mortal Kombat Mythologies. I had to do an MTV commercial for the Sub-Zero Mythologies as Quan Chi. It was awesome. I was on set, dressed in makeup, and the set looked like I was in a Nine Inch Nails video. It was so cool.
Yeah.
The video is actually on YouTube, but you know, the treatment that I got was awesome. I stayed at the Hotel Nico in Beverly Hills,
Great.
and loved that. And you know, they picked me up, went to the studio, did the makeup, and I was living like this is awesome. And the days that I wasn't filming, I actually got on a bus, and I looked through, actually in the hotel room, I looked through the yellow pages and found the name of the offices for the movie that I had done as an extra when I had done Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film. When I had done that film in North Carolina, there was another film called 29th Street with Danny Aiello and Anthony LaPaglia. And we're filming that in North Carolina. I was a foot soldier as a turtle, but the days I wasn't filming on the other soundstage, they needed Italian guys. But we're in North Carolina. There's not many Italian guys.
No, there isn't.
I'm half Italian. The other half is Bohemian, so or Czechoslovakian. But it was good enough, you know. And they needed like some northern Chicago guys, and I worked on 29th Street as an extra, and you know, got to meet Danny Aiello and everything like that. But the writer that did what's that film Midnight Run with Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
I forgot his name, but anyway, when I was in California, I found out where his offices were, and I had gone there because he had told me, you know, if I'm ever in LA, you know, keep in touch, you know, or try to find him. So when I was there, I found the actual offices and I went there, and I got to show my video. I had a VHS tape of all the Quan Chi videos that you see on YouTube now. All the, you know, the "Do Not Question Me, Serena," all that stuff. And I played that tape for them, and they said, "Do you live in LA?" And I said, "No, I don't. I live in Chicago." They're like, "Well, I can't do anything for you here if you don't. I can't do anything for you if you don't live here." And you know, I went back to Chicago because my mother had passed away, and I just was like, you know, I needed to be back home with family. And so I kind of gave up the whole like LA thing. And, you know, I never went back, and I ended up getting a job and working in Chicago. And then eventually, you know, I became an extra on The Dark Knight, the Batman, The Dark Knight. And same thing, you know, I got casted as like one of the Chechen gangsters. So I didn't have a screen credit on The Dark Knight, although on the DVD or Blu-ray, there's a really good shot of me in the film.
Yeah.
But that was an awesome film to work on. But that was me like dabbling again, just, you know, and I'm dabbling just like any other actor would, where you're juggling like a full-time job, and then you're trying to get like an extra role, or you're hoping that you can get a speaking role. And you know, and I had never had an agent. So actually, I think I tried to have an agent once. They sent me out on like some Mr. Clean commercial. So yeah, but the thing is I live in Chicago, and not a lot of films are done in Chicago.
Right.
I mean, they're trying to change that, but I think you really need to be in LA, and then you could just work your way back to Chicago once you made it. So that's kind of like what my thing's been. But you know, but
has the martial arts scene changed at all since you've been there? Is it still prevalent there? Are there still schools, or is that kind of just phased out?
Daniel Pacina has his kung fu school.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then Anthony Marquez has his kung fu school. I think it's Extreme Kung Fu on the north side of the city. Martial arts schools are more prevalent on the north side of the city than the south side. I'm not sure why that is.
Right.
But yeah, you know, most of the people here, from what I gather, you know, they kind of enroll, like it's so weird. Like if you're a South Sider, the parents enroll their kids in like hockey or like floor hockey, or you know, little league or football or something. But if you're a North Sider, you know, maybe, you know, kids are going more martial arts or whatever. And now some of the martial arts schools are doing MMA and things like that. Myself, you know, I don't do the kung fu like I used to. You know, the body, especially doing like wushu, you know, the high kicks and the jumping around, you know, takes a toll on your body.
Of
Could I
course.
do it for a film if I needed to? Sure, I could probably, you know, do like kind of like in a John Wick film,
Yep.
You know, I mean, I could definitely pull that off. But you know, the jumping around like the young kids, you know, uh, it's you know, you get the bad knees, you get the lower back, you know, whatever. But if you got to do something, you know, some real quick stuff, you know, whatever, yeah, that's no problem to do. Um, but that's the extent of the martial arts scene here in Chicago. But I
Before
played.
I before I let you go, this has been awesome. If someone wants to reach out to you, or maybe a promoter wants to book you and some of your friends and some of your original actors for a convention, like how do people reach out to you? What's your best way of communicating with your fans?
The best way is Instagram, which is at Richard Divizio. You could Google my name if you even put Google in Richard Divizio, Divizio, not an S. So Richard Divizio, Divizio. You could Google my name, or just at Richard Divizio on Instagram. I'm not a Facebook person.
Not
I
missing
used to
much.
I used to have a Facebook like a fan page, but Warner Brothers shut that down. So
That's
thank you.
so weird, man.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. I don't understand what their game is. Like I said before, they should really embrace uh, us guys and have a sit down with us and say, hey, you know, how could we all work together? You know, to do promotions. I mean, like the new films that are coming out. I love the new film that just came out
Yeah,
last
so did
year.
I. Yeah.
Oh, it was awesome. So I mean, yeah, I'm not in it. You know, I could have done a cameo, which would have been cool. Um, um, what's the new Kano guy? Josh.
Josh Lawson.
Yeah, Josh Lawson. So I had contacted him on Instagram, and I said, you know, welcome to the family, brother. And then he contacted me back and, you know, said thank you. So I appreciated that, you know. So and I'm not looking to be like the new Kano in a Mortal Kombat.
No, no, right.
That's not really where I want to go with things. Put me on Yellowstone. No, I'll learn
Right.
to ride a horse. No, but yeah, I would love to do for future wise. I'd love to do, you know, some sort of documentary about our life, or a Netflix series. Let me be, you know, the neighbor who whatever. There's always something out there, you know, to be.
I'm picturing
Um,
Baraka as like a babysitter for kids on a trampoline, and him just shredding that thing.
yeah, you know what's weird is like I think a lot of people look at me and go, yeah, you know, you need to be the villain. You need to be the villain, or you need to play the stereotypical Italian guy who's like, you know, the mobster guy.
Yeah.
But you know, and I did do that. I did that with Hosung Pak. There's a film that he had done called The Book of Swords. And people always look at me and go, yeah, you're that guy, you know. I don't want to do, you know, the stereotypical, you know, mobster guy. You know, like I said, like let me be the neighbor who
Yeah.
doesn't like you walking on my lawn. You know, like I can be that guy. And you know what? Actors will always do this thing like where, you know, I'm a firm believer of that. If there is a favorite actor you like, and there's a role that he's playing, he or she, there's a little bit of their own personality in that character.
Correct.
There's got to be. So someone's going to see this now and go, "What? You don't like people? You don't like your neighbors?" I'm like, no. I love my neighbors. It's just, you know, sometimes I get a little
Yeah.
annoyed. You know
Some of
what?
them.
You know what? I got a favorite comedian, and he's from Chicago, and so you know who he is, Sebastian Maniscalco.
Oh yeah.
So he's
His
from
new
Arlington
special is
Heights.
really good.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. He's from my hometown. So, but guys like him, you know, I love because he's out there. When I first saw him, I'm like, this guy's saying everything I want to say. Everything I want to say, he's saying it. But
Yep.
guys like that, you know, it's awesome. You know, so kudos to him. I'm glad and I'm very appreciative. I'm always appreciative of people that are able to do something that they love and tell their story, and then they make money from it too. So, you got to make a living. I'm not going to lie.
100%. You have
You
to.
got to make a living doing something you love. And I'm so appreciative that I'm just happy that people are able to do that. And I always say this too, like for instance, like Barry Williams, like from the Brady Bunch, they got like this whole HGTV thing when they redid the Brady House.
Yep.
You've never seen that. I'm so happy for them. I grew up watching the Brady Bunch, so I'm a huge fan. But for them to, then be back on television and, be back, in the limelight a little bit. And now out of that, they, Christopher Knight and Barry Williams, they got a podcast, and seems like podcast is the way to go. But happy for them, always happy for people that find their place.
Yeah. So let me ask you
yeah,
this. When a new game comes out or whatever, they don't send you guys a copy?
Hell no.
That's so weird to me. Like, I would be like, here's the whole system. It's decked out in your colors. Take it. Thank you for promoting. And that if they were smart, they'd be like, hey guys, let's all be a team, promote this.
You would think that like Arcade 1-Up.
That's easy.
Should like UPS should be pulling up at my door
100%.
with like an Arcade 1-Up going like, hey, you've been in Mortal Kombat. Like,
right.
We want to give you one so you can play it and then do a review, and so I can have an Arcade 1-Up in my house going like, you got to buy this fucking thing.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Such a weird.
Go to your Walmart right now and buy one, but not only that, see, I'm also a collector. I love like toys and antiques and things like that. So, I'm a huge fan of like Hot Toys. And I believe me, I got my Star Wars toys. I got a huge collection, and Storm Collectibles does all the Mortal Kombat toys. I love them. Do you think that Storm Collectibles contacted me and said, hey, listen, here's a Baraka, we're sending you one?
Yeah, or side 10 of them, we're gonna do a promotional giveaway, promote the hell out of these new it's weird.
People that watch this might think, well, what just because you were in the game, you want them to give you like, free stuff? Yeah. Come on. There's the Italian, there's the.
Well, it's one of those things too. I know we talked about.
A Baraka, send me a fucking Baraka.
But you are a part of the reason why this thing became what it became today. It's like it just seems like a no-brainer to get everyone involved, no matter who worked on what or did what, whether it's an old movie or another game, where it's just like make this a community. Because when you do the conventions, and obviously you guys have lines out the doors when you're all together sitting down and doing the panels, people resonate with people like you guys that are part of this. And so, man, hopefully someone does listen to this.
What I'm seeing a pattern here, because this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of greed, and I'm seeing companies like toy companies and I'm being humble, but I am going to call it as I see it. And I see a lot of companies that are not appreciative of what they have, and they're not old school, brother. They are not old school. They are new fucking school.
Yeah.
They're not old school. They were not brought up going, you know what? That's the original guy. You know what? Send him a fucking case of Barakas right now.
Yeah, whatever he wants.
Send it to him, because they're not fucking thinking like, once he's got it in his possession, he's going to take it and be like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to promote it like on my website. What they're thinking, and I know they're thinking, guess what? Fuck him. Our product is going to sell regardless.
Yeah.
And we don't have to send him shit. Our game is going to sell regardless. And we don't have to work with him at all. Warner Brothers is thinking that way. Storm Collectibles is thinking that way. And any other motherfucker who hasn't contacted us by now. So fuck y'all.
Yeah.
That's all I got to tell
No,
you.
and I love the fact you're
You
so
know?
passionate about that. That's the only way to be
No,
too.
it's
'Cause
bullshit.
You guys are part of that.
You know, it is bullshit. And if you don't fucking contact me because I fucking called you out, then fuck you. That's how I feel. I don't
Yeah,
fucking
man.
need you anyway. You
Hell
know?
yeah.
But if you do send me something,
Got that Kabal
if
25-point
you-
articulation.
yeah, if you do send me something, then you know, we work together, you know. But see, I try to make it, you know, I'm not afraid of shit, you know.
Yeah.
I'm old school, you know. You know, I'm not afraid to hurt your little fucking feelings, you know. You know, be a fucking man and
Yeah.
stand up, you know. And I'm not politically correct either, so fuck that bullshit.
Yeah.
So fuck
Either
all that
way.
PC shit. You know,
But,
I'm done with that. Move fucking on already.
Richard, this has been great. Thank you for the time tonight. Thank you for being a part of not only my childhood, but literally millions and countless of millions of other people. And be safe, and we'll have to do this again soon.
Yes, we will. Thank you for having me. And thanks to all the Mortal Kombat fans. I'll be the first to say it that the game would not be a success if it was not for you. Otherwise, it would just be a game sitting in a cabinet doing nothing. So again, if you want to know more, follow me at Instagram at Richard Divizio. And maybe you could type that on there somewhere.
I will. We got you.
But yeah. Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, brother. Love you. Hope to
Thank
meet
you.
you someday. And, you know, we'll go out for a drink or something and a steak or something.
Love it.
Okay, brother.
Oh, hello. I'm just enjoying this nice fucking candle. Anyways, I'm John, the host of Spear Talk, and I want to talk to you about nice fucking candles. We are lucky to have Nice Fucking Candles as a sponsor of the podcast, and if you use code SpearTalk15, you get 15% off your first order, or use the affiliate link below to always get your candle needs through Nice Fucking Candles. Nice Fucking Candles are 100% soy wax. They have a 65-hour burn time, maybe more if you nurse the flame a little bit, maybe. I don't know. I'm not an expert on flames or candles, but I will say these things burn a long fucking time. You ask me about the wick. It's a double wick for even burning, which is amazing. And they come in 3 incredible flavors. I'm not sure if you're going to be eating these candles, but if you do like them, the scents are eucalyptus and ginseng, tobacco and fireside, and seaside and driftwood. Once again, Nice Fucking Candles. They are the candle company for Spear Talk. And if you love candles and need a good scent to clear out your office, your room, your podcast room, your weight room, your whatever you're doing in a room that smells like crap, use this candle. It's amazing. Thank you. Check them out. Love Nice Fucking Candles.